Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining this session. We're delighted to be here at Discover, our first virtual event, and we're going to leverage the platform for this next session to talk to our guest speaker in a bit of a fireside chat format. So I'm delighted to welcome Casey McGee, Microsoft's Vice President of Global ISV Sales. Hi, Casey. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Chris. Good to see you.
So we planned a kind of interactive session about Microsoft and Barracuda and how we can support the channel, support our managed service partners and resellers around the globe. So maybe, Casey, you could do a short introduction and talk a little bit about some of Microsoft's mission, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, you bet. So, Chris, thank you for inviting me here today, and thanks for the opportunity to have a discussion about this great partnership between Barracuda and Microsoft. So, I'm Casey McGee. I lead our worldwide ISV business here at Microsoft, and so that business encompasses all the ISVs around the world who are either making the decision to join the Microsoft cloud or have already made that decision. And so, for those that have already committed to the cloud, we're actually growing and building partnerships with our customers every day. So, our objective is very much focused on how do we help our ISVs grow. As much as we love our technology, it's really about how do we drive growth with our ISV ecosystem. I've been in the company just about 20 years, and so had the chance to lead an organization back in Paris, actually, looking at the exact same geography that you serve, Chris. So we called it Microsoft International, and so in that role, I had this great opportunity to visit 35 countries a year, really get to know the partner ecosystem in each of those subsidiaries, from the very largest, like Japan and the UK, all the way down through some of the smallest in Nigeria and Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia and all these various sites that we would visit. So it's just such a great opportunity for us as an organization to connect with you in those geos. I think our geographic mapping is pretty similar, where we've got field sellers connected in each of those geos. And so I've been in this role now for a couple of months, pretty new. Prior to this was in the US, leading our US ISV strategy there, and then various roles across our strategy operations as a sales leader, and just thrilled to be here with you today. Just a bit about the Microsoft mission. I think everyone knows we're pretty public about how the mission really guides us. And, I think we talk about this idea that Microsoft's mission is to help every person and every organization on the planet achieve more. We do that through and with partners. And so as a company that's 45 years old, we really believe that we are serving our partner ecosystem to achieve that end. And so that's core to what we do. It's part of our DNA, and I think it's what really helps us drive the right value to our customer ecosystem. So thrilled to be here again with the Barracuda team.
Hey, that's great. And, it's interesting. We were chatting offline before we kicked off the session about travel and the changes. And, it's interesting in light of COVID and everything that's going on at the moment. We're seeing businesses looking for technology and to consume technology in new ways and how they're having to adjust their businesses. And I'm curious what you think about, how that impacts a partnership with ISVs like Barracuda and how we work with our partners. We have our mission. You talked about your mission. Our mission is around how do we deliver innovative security products that are easy to buy, easy to deploy, and easy to use. And, we've seen lots of synergies with Microsoft around how we make that happen through Azure. And so, we started back in the early days with some of the first security solutions running natively in Azure. I think we worked with customers and partners to get that shared security model story kind of out there in the market so people understood, how Microsoft handles the infrastructure security, and then partners like Barracuda can kind of help with the application security that customers need. So, it's exciting. We've worked together a long time, but as we go forward in these changing times, how do you see the partnership and how we can work together and how our partners can leverage that?
Yeah, you bet. So Microsoft, when this whole the COVID crisis hit in the, let's call it February-March timeframe, very early in the process, we kind of framed three different phases that required a pretty different response by phase. And so the response both in what we did directly with customers and with partners. And so let me talk through those three phases. And I think this partnership that we're here talking about today is core in each of those three phases. So I don't at all mean to say that you're more prevalent in one versus the other. It's actually the persistent theme across each of these is that we are collectively working and living very differently. And how data flows between devices, between buildings, between organizations is changing. And so I think every customer, every person has to have the right level of agility, flexibility, and the access to the security tools and technology that help them protect that data. So let me just talk about the three and then maybe just a few examples. So phase one for us was very much about the response. So how do we in the moment help teachers handle the challenging needs around remote learning? How do we help healthcare professionals provide remote care and remote medicine through telemedicine platforms? How do we help first responders do a better job of being able to assess the risk and respond? And so not just the Microsoft platform playing a role there, it's actually the partner ecosystem on top of that. So whether it's the work that we do with a company called PowerSchool on remote learning side, it's Teladoc on the telemedicine side, it's Esri on some of the data components related to EMT response, all of those really focusing on how do we do a better job of providing within that response phase. Now, in each of those three scenarios, you have ISVs that need a new mapping of their data. So how security helps support the flow of data changed dramatically. And so that's kind of phase one. And I just think about, even just cloud-to-cloud backup, the work that you guys are doing there. In almost every scenario, customers are thinking differently about how they interact with customers. And that means that they're changing their cloud infrastructure out. In some cases, it may be from a previous colo provider, or it could have been a cloud provider that wasn't Microsoft. In all of these cases, they're saying, listen, we need to think differently about that. So that's phase one. Phase two, we call restarting the economy. And so this is very much what I would call the phase we're in now, lighting things back up despite some of the persistent threats. And so in this phase, it's really, we are now operating in a bit of a temporary normal. And so here we are several months into level 3, level 4 work, where some people are going to the office, some people are working from home, similar challenges, right? And so I think your WAF as a service solution actually kind of, I think, comes to life with these types of scenarios where, in an average day, I'm speaking to 20 different people in 10 different countries. Some of them are in the office, some of them are at home. And so really, those various geographic locations really need to be protected as if they're your corporate headquarters. And then the last scenario is really when we get past all the pretty serious issues around COVID and the economic realities associated with that. We're going to operate in a new normal. And so I really do think the work that we're doing on Cloud Gen WAN is an example of where technology will help us build a new way of working. And this is the long-term new normal, right? This is really years in the future. How do we work in a new and different way? And so those are the three phases. I have to say I've got a really cool job, and then I get to work with all of these ISVs who are really making either the response, the restart, or the working in the new normal reality. And so, it's a good partnership for us. I mean, clearly, as I said, Chris, you're deeply rooted in each of those.
That's really interesting. And, as you think, one of the things that we've been doing together with Microsoft over the last few months is really working much more closely together, particularly from a product development side. And you touched on Cloud Gen WAN there, and maybe I'll bring the conversation back in that direction a little bit. We've been investing heavily together with Microsoft around how do we help customers, find new ways or better ways to utilize the Azure infrastructure that's there to, find new ways to build out their SD-WAN solutions. The Microsoft solution providing a great opportunity there, combined with embedded security that we have with Barracuda built in the Azure stack, I think is a key product that's going to help our customers connect and stay connected more securely.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, one thing it's so important about that relationship, and I know that our sellers in the field, our customers may not always see this, and so I'll just kind of double click on that engineering engagement. The way we think about that relationship in particular, so for SD-WAN, and I think the kind of the breadth of the portfolio is your products, our foundation, our platform are better when we engineer them together. And so instead of thinking about them as two Lego pieces that we click together, there's actually this co-innovation that happens. And so you're one of a few partners that I believe that, when you sit down with our engineering team, we're actually going back and forth with ideas on how do we make our products collectively better, and how do we bring the kind of the innovation to the front edge. And that's really through the through the deployments with our customers. And so I love that aspect of the partnership, and I think you're spot on. I think that's exactly where the value is unlocked.
Yeah, and I think the really cool thing is it ties back into part of our mission around, making innovative solutions, but easy to deploy. When you think about how we've been able to integrate into the Azure Marketplace, how customers can spin up directly from there, we've made it super simple to deploy, a full functioning SD-WAN solution together with Microsoft, and it's pretty exciting. As we think about how easy it is now, so for partners here to talk to customers about how they can quickly stand up secure access service edge networks. They've got an easy solution. It's a cost-effective solution of driving that connectivity, and then just leveraging Microsoft Global Network, I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned Marketplace, I should say. I mean, we're always looking for these opportunities to reduce friction. Marketplace is a good example of that. So I think you guys have invested in Marketplace solutions that I think just improve the accessibility of the solutions. I mean, I'll rip off, I think, what is one of the best marketing messages you guys have released, and that's this idea that you're helping customers discover, transact, and provision. And that even just using a marketplace type of an engagement to kick that off is just so powerful. And so I think I'm with you. I think even if you just consider those three phases I talked about, what's true about all of them is that speed and friction are two really important elements, and we need to figure out how do we move more quickly and reduce the friction so we're getting to the solutions that we need faster.
That's awesome. So maybe let's move the conversation a bit. We've touched on different ways of consuming the technology and how our partners can help. So maybe let's talk about Microsoft's offerings and how that applies to all partners. We have a lot of our partners here who may not necessarily be Microsoft partners today. They may be moving in that direction. How can they collaborate around these joint solutions from a Microsoft point of view, and future-proof what they're doing with their customers, or accelerate their cloud business with Microsoft and ISVs like Barracuda?
Yeah, super question. Let me start from the customer and work my way back. And so, I think one of the big shifts for us over even just the last couple of years, this year in particular, we're really looking at how do we identify and focus on the business requirements by industry. So what this really translates to is that in each of these industries, there's a unique set of requirements, especially for data security. And so step number one for us has been, let's start to map that. We have the benefit of having 20,000 sellers in the field who have deep relationships across all the customers in that ecosystem, from the very largest all the way down through our small and medium business. And so we're starting there and saying, okay, let's identify not just the high-level industry, but within each of those industries, the sub-vertical. So we're not just thinking about customer requirements for financial services. We're saying we need to know capital banking, retail banking, capital markets, and insurance. And so really, I think starting there is important. That helps us construct what we're calling these industry solution priorities. And so these priority scenarios are actually kind of the map to how do we enter into a customer discussion. And those discussions are both framed around industry ISVs and then what we call solution area ISVs that serve kind of the horizontal needs of a company. And so I start there because we actually don't have the capacity to serve all of that need. And so just to be clear, it's actually why we've always had a partner ecosystem, because this opportunity for us as a platform company is only serviced through this incredible network of global systems integrators, LARs and VARs. And so these communities of partners become essential for us. And so kind of step number one is understand how we go to market and sell. That's through industry. Step number two is then to come up with the mapping on who are the ISVs that matter most in those scenarios. And so Barracuda, just the very fact that we're here today, is on the top of the list. I mean, we have a very defined set of ISVs that we work with at a global level, a very small group of partners. Barracuda is one of them. And what we started to do now is actually build these partner-to-partner programs that allow companies like Barracuda to plug into some of the programmatic aspects of Microsoft that we've offered up to the systems integrators, LARs and VARs. And so step number two is understanding those programs to make sure that we execute. And then I think, we have this role at the company. It's called a partner development manager. A lot of you on the call here today have a partner development manager. If you don't, we also have a role in the field. They're the catchers of all the partner interest and demand. These enterprise channel managers help unlock the customer scenarios. So if you are a systems integrator or a disti or an LSP, you raise your hand and say, we want to break into this account. We've got enterprise channel managers that can help make that a reality. So I would say those are the kind of the three phases of how that engagement works.
It's great. It's interesting. A lot of the sessions throughout today's event are going to be focused on the customer. We're customer obsessed at Barracuda and building the right solutions and enabling our partners to take those solutions to customers. I know Microsoft is the same. You just touched on some of that. Yeah. How can a Barracuda partner leverage that combined obsession? They probably understand Barracuda solutions pretty well, but how can they then leverage the Microsoft piece to bring it all together?
Yeah, super question. So, our field sales organization is compensated on their ability to help deliver partner revenue. So it may be commonly known across Barracuda and this partner ecosystem, I'll just say it again, our sellers retire quota when you sell a deal. So we take your top line revenue, and that translates through all of the partners. So just to be clear, it's a really, I think it's a really powerful program. So I think number one, understand how the compensation model works. And, I'm happy to offer up an engagement opportunity in the subsidiaries that you're serving to make sure that happens. The second is, and this is where, we've got, I think, a long history of creating battle cards, these kind of one-page documents that show how we work together, show the value to the customer. I've pushed our teams to evolve that a bit. Battle cards are extremely useful if you've got 20 to 30 minutes to read a one-page paper with 8-point font. For sellers at Microsoft to really tap into what's important to them, you've got to go straight to what customers value. So I call it the 30-point font slide. Work with your counterparts at Microsoft, work with Barracuda to develop that 30-point font slide, and that is three things. Number one, what is the value of our three companies working together? Why does your unique position in the market, why does Barracuda IP and Microsoft as a platform resonate with customers? That's number one. Number two, what's in it for all of the sellers at Microsoft? And then what's in it for the Barracuda and channel partner sellers? And those three boxes, you fill those out, you've got a head start in making sure that you're tapping into all the goodness.
And that's really interesting. And in fact, I can validate that. We've got numerous examples where we've built that engagement, and the power of the three, our partners with Microsoft and Barracuda coming together into the customer base is really, really powerful. So, I think for all our partners around the world who are watching this session, figuring out that engagement, your Barracuda partner account managers, you should really engage there, and we can connect and connect with the Microsoft teams if you don't know them directly. So, I think the key takeaway in my mind, listening to what you've been saying, Casey, is it's about the value, it's about enabling speed to market, speed to the solution and the value, and then just understanding the benefit for everybody. And that's how you can build a compelling solution. Yep. So that's great. As we think about it, we're constantly focused on the customer, and we're thinking about, some of the things we talk about is how do you rapidly respond, recover, reimagine the solution, help customers through digital transformation, and we know that Microsoft are committed in that direction, innovations at the forefront. So, we're all here to help our partners be successful and, of course, build good solutions and value solutions for our customers. So, we really appreciate the partnership. We love working with Microsoft, and we try and share that enthusiasm with our channel partners because we think there's so much value in that. And, we're looking forward to a very bright future in this partnership. And, thank you for joining this session. It's a short keynote, but later on during the day, we have some other Microsoft sessions. So, there's one to look out for, the win formula. So for everyone tuned in, check out the agenda. Look out for the win formula. We go a click deeper around how to really leverage the Microsoft partnership. So that one's going to be a pretty exciting session. So I don't know, Casey, have you got any closing comments or thoughts around for our partners before we close?
Yeah, of course. So Chris, I just thank you again for the opportunity here. Special thanks to the broader community of Barracuda folks. I deeply appreciate working with you every day, both in the engineering side and on the sales side. Maybe just two closing thoughts. Number one, I love this idea that across our three entities, the partner ecosystem, Barracuda and Microsoft, we're staying really focused on the customer, really deeply understanding what's important to them and what are the outcomes that we can help them serve. So that's number one. Number two, just take advantage of the breadth and scale that Microsoft brings to the table. We are invested in your growth. So when you grow, we grow. And just want to continue to urge you to make those connections, whether it's in the subsidiaries, the geos, and the industries, or even through your partner teams. We're here to help. We're here to partner and drive value for our customers. So thanks again, Chris. Really appreciate the time.
Awesome. Casey, thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of Discover 20.